All right, getting folks in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're new to the mastermind, it's truly a mastermind. So definitely come on camera with us. And we're going to get things rolling here in a couple minutes. Hello.
Hello.
Good to see you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi. Hey,
Hey.
Chasity.
Getting all the squares going. Hey, Alicia.
Hey, I was invited by Brian Rodriguez, so I hope it's okay that I
Yes, please.
I crashed your party here.
Get
He
on in here.
was sitting at almost 11 o'clock. He was like, "Hey, can you patch into this call?" I was like, "Okay." So I'm here.
I love it.
Yes.
Cool. We're just getting everybody in. We're going to give everyone a couple minutes to get settled in, and then we'll kick things off. So
Excellent.
if you're just joining us, I'm Lindsay, and we are joined by the fabulous Chasity. We're going to get things going here in a moment. This is a true mastermind. So if you can, if you're not driving, which most of the folks that call in are showing a house or driving, come on camera. Would love to see your face. You guys are going to have an opportunity to ask questions, learn. We're here to help you grow. All right, and I'm kicking everybody's OtterBot out of here. All right. Hey, Chelsea. Where is everybody calling in from? I see we've got one person from Florida. I know Chelsea's here in the Springs. Where's everybody calling in from? Seattle. Ooh. Pueblo. Hey, Candy. We got Denver. Yeah, girl.
San Francisco.
All right. We are worldwide here, or nationwide, I should say. All right. Very cool. North Carolina.
Love it. I grew up in South Carolina.
Ooh. I have not made it to the Carolinas, but I hear it's pretty.
It is, but it's hot and humid.
Maybe I'll go during the fall. All right.
Yeah. Definitely better.
All right. Well, I'm going to kick us off. I'm going to get going because we're not going to waste time. We got lots of things to cover here, and Chasity is the powerhouse that is going to be guiding us through the topic of listings today. So I want to welcome everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Lindsay Litton, and I am a strategist and business coach. I'm thrilled to bring you this series and sessions designed to inspire, cultivate, and activate your potential in your everyday life and in your business. Every month we offer these free masterminds, and we bring you unique expertise that help you grow and thrive. Today's guest is Chasity Rosales. Chastity's enthusiasm and zest for life and people are her primary driving force behind her incredibly successful real estate practice. She's happy, energetic, an extremely fortunate person who brings a positive attitude to every endeavor. Chastity's approach to real estate and life is guided by her 3 Ds: dedication, determination, and dependability. She's dedicated to her clients, determined to meet their needs, and dependable when you need her. She always goes above and beyond to make things happen. Chasity today is going to be sharing her insights on winning listings. She's also going to be talking about the impact of the recent NAR changes and how that's changing her listing and buyer presentations, and how she successfully leads her team and sells over 100 houses in the El Paso, Texas area. I am excited to call my guest, Miss Chasity, not only a friend, but also a coaching client. And before we dive into today's conversation, if you need further guidance in your journey, please reach out to me. Together we can make your business thrive, and I'm here to share insights and strategies on how to do that. So without further ado, Miss Chasity, let's go, girl.
How is everybody doing? Thank you so much for taking your time. I know it's different time zones all over, but to be with us today, and thank you, Lindsay, for having us on here. We are a small team in El Paso, Texas, home to Fort Bliss. Most of 87% of our business is military relocation. So we love and advocate for the VA home loan. Our team, our small team, we're a small, mighty team. We have 4 admin and 3 agents. We average about 200 homes a year. 100 of those typically are mine. And so Lindsay asked me to talk about that and how that, how do I do that consistently? Because I've consistently, for the last 5 years, sold 100 to 140 homes myself personally. And I'd love to hear from you because I don't want to talk about things that maybe are not pertinent to you or not even in the scope of what you're thinking, but don't forget to mute your audio so we're not talking over you. I'd like to hear, put in the chat, what are some things around listings or working with sellers, since that's our topic with NAR, so I can make sure that we are addressing what's important to you. We'll start with listings and talking about how we do that. I just have some quick points for you. I don't like to go into PowerPoints. I just like to talk to you. So I would love to see you on camera so we can talk to each other. If you're available to do that, I'd like for you to turn those on. And then let's just ask each other questions. Lindsay, will you read me what they're posting about what they'd love to hear more about?
Yes, absolutely. And as folks get in, I'm hitting the mute button. So if you have a question, please put it in the chat so I can unmute you, and I'm happy to do that. And Chasity is a wealth of knowledge. I know when I've worked with her and her team, Chasity herself sells 100 listings. Like, talk about how amazing it is to sell 100 listings every year, and she does it with ease. So some of the questions that we're getting here, I'm gonna field them. I'm gonna field them to you, Chastity, and then I've got a couple to kick us off with, if that's okay.
Okay, you go ahead. I'll let you lead it.
Well, one of the questions, and so one of the things that you have to answer when you get it, when you register for the mastermind, is what are some of the topics?
Oh, nice.
Right, that you want to hear on? What are some of your concerns? And the thing that I keep seeing come up, so I just want to hit it right off the bat. The thing that I keeps consistently coming up is these NAR changes. So why don't we just talk about the elephant in the room, and let's talk about the NAR changes and how that is shifting your listing strategy and how you're preparing for some of those changes.
I think we're making it scarier and harder than it has to be from the start. I mean, the only thing constant in our world is change. It's just scary because we haven't seen this kind of a major change in real estate in so many years. And it's just been something that was, I think, for the buyer's agents, easy. I'm not saying easy once you're in the file, but you knew where your money was coming from. And now that has to be scary if a bulk of your business is from buyers, because that's not necessarily guaranteed anymore. So you're going to have conversations that relay your value that would show a buyer you worth what you are charging them. So we can talk about that side as well as the seller side. But for us on the seller side, there's not too many changes that we are making, right? We're already full of value. We know our value. We preach our value. We make sure that they understand our value, and we deliver those results consistently time over time. And that's through 2 things: relationships and systems. And what I mean by that is you have to create a relationship with whoever you're working for. You have to build that rapport right away. You have to build expectation management, and you have to have the hard conversations, which a lot of agents don't like to have, especially around finances, or they don't like to have because they're either not confident to have the conversations because nobody's teaching them, or they have a scarcity mindset that if they do have that hard conversation, it might turn the client off and they lose them. But I promise you, if you're confident in what you're doing and your skill, that will not be the case, because it's your fiduciary duty to consult with them and make sure they understand what's going on in present market that makes them most competitive. And that leads me to this NAR conversation. If you don't even really know what's happening in the NAR settlement because you haven't gone to the facts page and you haven't taken the time to read and study it, if you haven't been on YouTubes, if you haven't been on TikToks, if you haven't been on Instagrams, if you haven't been on other brokerages trainings, then you are already behind, and that would be scary. So your homework from going here today is I want you to go watch everything you can watch. I've watched every major broker's social media about what their thoughts are on this NAR. Why? I'm with Keller Williams. Why am I watching Real? Why am I watching EXP? Why am I watching any other brokerage? And I went to some local brokerages here. They have invited me to their meetings here. Why? Because every time you hear it, you're going to hear something different because you're in a different place, or somebody's going to explain it differently that then pops with you. And we know repetition helps with learning. Once you hear it over and over, it's going to stick. And then you can start having conversations about it that are clear to your consumer. There are really two changes. What are the two changes? Real easy. I want everybody to put it into chat. What are the two changes? Simple. What are they? Let's put them in there.
I can read some of these. No
Okay.
co-ops and MLS and buyer rep. What else do we got? Thank you, Whitney.
Does anybody disagree with Whitney that it's no longer having co-op fee and MLS and buyer rep agreements are required? If you have something different, put it in there. You shouldn't, right? Because that's it. That's as simple as that. So when they ask you, hey, Chasity, I heard that my friend from Louisiana, and he's selling in El Paso, told me I don't have to pay the buyer's agent commission anymore. So I'm pretty excited about that getting listing because that's going to save me that 3%, right? Oh, great question. I'm glad you got a friend in Louisiana that's never sold homes educating you on the NAR settlement. And he just laughs at me because we have that relationship. You have to read that now. I like to deal with things in humor if that matches that person's personality. If not, I don't. But what I told him is, that's a great question. I'm glad you brought that up, right? I want to solidify to them that I am glad they're asking questions and they're knowledgeable. I don't want to put them on the defense. And then I go into it. Hey, there are really two changes, Lindsay, that happened with this NAR lawsuit. And, you know, just like everything else, the news got this wrong. They're, using scare tactics and putting out information that is just not accurate. And these are the two changes. We can no longer list what we're offering to the buyer's agent in the MLS. However, Lindsay, we are able to put it on anything that is not fed through the MLS. So that gives us a ton of options on how to advertise what we're willing to pay a buyer's agent to bring you a buyer. So I chuckle after that and I say, so really they didn't make too many changes there because we can still do it. We can still communicate it. And the second one, Lindsay, is that now you have to have a buyer's rep agreement before you can even show a house. In Texas, that was already required this year of January 1, so it was not different for us. And at our brokerage, it's always been a requirement. So our team has always done buyer agent agreements. So this is really nothing new for us other than now we have to have the conversation of where is that money coming from? Should we not be able to get the seller to pay it? And from there, you just say, do you have any questions from that? No, that's right. Yeah, that's totally different than what I heard. So you think I should still offer a buyer commission, Chasity? Right now in our market, that is still king. We are still offering a commission. Now, come September, November, December, I may not advise my client to do that because that may not be normal in my market. And this is where what I say the rubber meets the road, and what's going to separate you and from another agent is going to be your level of education, your level of knowledge of your local market, the national market, and what's going on. So you can then do your fiduciary to your client to say, hey, Lindsay, I know you don't want to pay a buyer's agent, but here's the thing, Lindsay. I've already called all other 5 agents that have a home listed in your neighborhood that's like your home. All 5 of those are offering a 3% buyer agent compensation for them to bring them a buyer. Do you think it's prudent to not offer anything? How competitive do you think you're going to be with your 5 neighbors if you don't offer anything? And then you sit there. We don't like to be quiet. We don't like silence as people naturally. So if they're just thinking about it and receiving and they're just sitting there quiet, we have a tendency to want to fill in the gaps. Don't sit there and look at them. let them internalize it. And then after you give them a few seconds, Lindsay, tell me what you're thinking about that. And then hear them out, but you got to listen. But you have to have the data internally to be able to go back and say why what they're thinking is or is not. And there's a couple of ways that you can do this, and you can write this down. If you don't have a method to get this data, well, there's a lot of free methods out there. If you are in the Flex MLS, if you have Flex, there is, if you go to, can I share my screen, Lindsay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Have at it.
Share. Okay, let's see. Let me share. I'm going to share this screen with you for Flex. Hold on. Where do I have you? Hold on. Let me get that back up. I want to show y'all how to get there because it's hidden. If you've not played around with it, then you're not going to necessarily find it, but I'm going to show you how to have these conversations. It doesn't show me where this is. I think I got too many screens open. Hold on. Let me close some out. It's like, which one you want? You got 100 open.
Anybody else with 100 tabs? Yes. By the way, thank you guys for joining us. If you're new to joining us, we urge you to come on camera. This is a true mastermind. We want to see your gorgeous face. And please put questions in the chat. That helps Chasity and I guide the conversation so that you're getting value from today's mastermind. So thank you guys for sharing with us today.
Okay, I think now we got it. Do y'all see my Flex page?
Yep, we're in.
Okay, if you go here to menu, it takes you to this screen if you're a part of Flex. If you have a different one, I'm sure you have something similar. But if you go down here to products, if you go right here to Domus Analytics, and if your board doesn't provide this for you, I mean, this is extra they have to pay for, then your board does this for you somehow. You can go in there and get the monthly analytics. You get those already, right? Because if you're doing a monthly market report, you're getting that data from somewhere, but this just helps you dig in more. But like you have all these different options to use to get data, to have a conversation. And I am having this data. I do this now before I even go to a listing. I already have this data for their neighborhood. Because now we're having to underprice. I don't know about your market, but if the market says a house is worth $250 here, I'm trying to get them to list at $240. That doesn't feel good to think I'm losing $10,000. But the fact of the matter is, homes are not selling at market value in our market because in El Paso, our property tax is so expensive, coupled with a 7% interest rate. It's almost unaffordable. A $220,000 house in El Paso is almost $2,200 a month. Do you think that data I just said right there is relative at the listing table? Right. I got to show them the data to help them wrap their head around why I am telling them to list under where the market says they should be valued. So it's all about having the meat that you need to serve the potatoes with. And so I don't know why it's not coming up. I'm sorry, but usually it pops right up and you'll see these graphs like this that you can play with. You can, on some of the other graphs, you can do it by zip code. This is just a basic one of what's going on. You could print this, you can print screen this, and you can take this with you. This kind of stuff is what's going to help set you apart from the other agent, because skill is going to become a factor now, and mostly with buyers. Does this help you with a buyer? Because now with NAR and you having to fight for your commission and tell them your worth, if they're saying, hey, I can't do X, well, the data says X is happening. So can you still not do X because we're not getting around X? And here's why. Let me tell you. Just like a listing agent now, buyer's agents are going to have some kind of presentation that shows their worth. Coupled with the education.
So
what is your worth?
So Chastity, I want to break this into like actionable steps. Step one, before you even go on to listing appointment, is know your market data. So that's the number one thing that you do before you even go on a listing appointment, right?
Yep, I research all of this stuff I'm showing you. I know the numbers, I know the data, I know the neighborhood, I know what's going on. I know what's going on in the national market. I know what's going on in the local market because they watch the news, right? They look at stuff and they say, oh, well, you know, my friend just sold theirs for 10,000 more over in New York. Well, I need to know what's happening in New York so I can say, yeah, but Lindsay, New York is still down 2,000 homes, right? We're up 30%. We're only up 9% based on where we were before, but based on where we were last year, we're up 30%. That means we have 30% more competition, which means that is not relevant data for this, and I need to be able to show them that that doesn't matter. Or I'm selling on the east side and they're telling me their friend on the west side got multiple offers. Those are two different neighborhoods. Yes, on the west side, on a $500,000 house, I get multiple offers. But on the east side, on a $500,000 house, I don't get anything. I'm begging for one offer because the difference in desirability. We can put numbers on market data. We cannot put numbers on desirability. And they desire that neighborhood, and doctors and lawyers and senior military live on that side of town. They have the resources to do it. They can afford the property tax with a 7% interest rate. Those living on the east side not necessarily can afford that.
Step one, educate yourself, know your market, know the national market as well, and be prepped with the objection handlers for the NAR stuff because the consumer is informed. You have to be the great synthesizer. I've recently heard that term and I love it. And a synthesizer essentially is just taking in all of this information and putting it into understandable data for your consumer. And that's what we are. We've got to take the information, put it into understandable data that makes an impact for that person, meeting the objective.
Well, the funny thing is the consumer thinks they're informed. That's the difference. They think they're informed, but most of them are not in fact informed because they're hearing what the media wants them to hear, and we know that's not right. We know the media, I mean, the media literally, a headline was like, no more agent commission. I always start out with commissions have always been negotiable. But who owns the commission? Put in the chat, who owns the commission?
Don't be shy. Let's go. Let's go.
Y'all know who owns the commission. Who owns the commission?
The broker. Whitney. Whitney from Chattanooga. Thank you so much for being our...
Whitney cannot answer another question for the next two questions. Y'all relying on Whitney too much.
Woo, Cindy. We got Cindy.
Y'all know. See, every one of you are second guessing yourself. If I'm going to put the wrong answer, you know the answers to this, y'all. You know it. Own it. Preach it. The broker owns the commission. So who decides how the commission is split?
Put that in the chat.
Did we ever have to give a buyer's agent 3% of our commission? We did not. It just became norm. And when I say percents, I'm not trying to set any percent, just making that clear. It was just what was normal in our market, which supposedly got us in trouble. But no matter if I charged 10%, 5%, 3%, whatever I charged, I never had to co-op half of that to a buyer's agent. And buyer's agents didn't understand that. So when they saw less than what was the normal for their area, they griped about it and saying, oh my God, I can't believe it's not a right. It's compensation for bringing somebody. So now that conversation with your buyer is like, okay, hey, Lindsay, you don't have any money, absolutely anything?
No money, Chastity. Zero. I can't pay you.
Okay, well, I'm going to set the expectation to Lindsay that her home pool probably just got really low, right? Because we can only see homes that sellers have agreed to pay buyer agent compensation because I don't work for free. And I hate it for them. And there might be times that we're going to do some pro bono work, especially for my military families, in cases, in very special cases, that might be negotiated. but you have to set the standard or the standard sets you. So what is your value standard? Now is the time to get really clear on menus. You remember back in the day, people had menus and they charged a certain percent for different things. This might be something that now works great for buyers. You may say, I charge X for full service, X for this, and if you just want me to open a house and write the contract for you and nothing after that, then it's this. Right? So now you control your time, you control your value, and you've given people options, which people love to have options. But if you don't have that, every buyer conversation, every seller conversation you have, you are going to be fighting for your worth every single time if you don't stand in your truth and your value. So your next homework assignment is creating a menu for your value, whatever you want to charge. And there's been times I charged 9% in our market and got it.
Anybody shocked on that one? Anybody here charge more than 9% and get it? How'd you do it, Chasity?
It's all about scripts and conversations and education. Everything revolves around those three things. So when we did that and in our market, this is when it took a long time, right? The houses, when I started real estate, the average days on market for a listing was 180 days. So this for us is pretty simple. We're at, I think, average 38 days now. Pretty cakewalk when you got 6 months average. Military families had to list their house 6 and 7 months out. They didn't even have orders yet. They just knew it was coming. So, I mean, that was a gamble, you know, we get them on the market and get them under contract, that may not ever happen. So it's a whole level of problem solving you have to do there. But you just tell them, hey, what sets your house apart with the 20 other in your neighborhood? What do you think? Price, location, condition, plus the person that drives the car. Who drives the car? Who pushes the client? You got to entice them to push the client your way. And that is just what it is. Money talks, bullshit walks. That's what we say in the South.
Why do you think the home builders have come back around and started giving agent bonuses and commission again?
Yes, because they crapped on us so much during COVID that they need to get us back in their good graces, for one, and for two, because sales are down and they got all that inventory, so they have to entice the consumer because they know the consumer wants to buy that interest rate down. We got one builder here offering a $27,000 bonus to the buyer to use however they want with clock costs, buy downs, and all that. And that's another great point, Lindsay. Australia. If you are a builder heavy neighborhood and you're going to a listing appointment, what's important to talk about to your seller about the buyer the seller down the street as a builder?
Well, there's a couple of things that you, from your pricing strategy, you need to make sure that you're taking into account that the builder's offering multiple incentives, which include a home buyer warranty. In addition to that, the home builder is often offering a discounted interest rate as an incentive as well. So when you're pricing your home, you can't price it the same or more than what those new builds are on the market for, because it's just not the same apples to apples comparison given all those additional incentives.
Right. I love it. That's part of your education. I also tell the seller, if builders are offering buyer agent compensation, why wouldn't you? What makes you different? Oh, they got more money than me, Chasity. Their spread isn't that big. It really isn't. A lot of homeowners got more equity than some builders have, right? Especially with the increased market price. I mean, did y'all know that almost 50% of the homeowner population has, they own their homes outright? That's amazing. There's a ton of equity out there. So they don't have the excuse that the builder maybe has more equity than them and they have more money to play with. They don't. Builders just understand who is their bread and butter when it comes to selling their homes. And that's the buyer, because the buyer dictates value and the buyer chooses you or not. So how do we get the buyer to choose you? That's the question I ask.
Ooh.
Thud, how do I, is it Thud or Thud from North Carolina? Am I saying your name right? Thui. How do you say your name?
Chastity, it's Tweet.
Tweet. Oh
Yeah.
my God. It had a D in it. This is my girl from El Paso who moved to North Carolina. I did not see your face. I hope you are good. I love you.
It's me, girl.
Oh,
Oh my
so,
God.
so what do you tell them? Like, why would they choose your house over the new build?
What was your question again? I'm sorry.
I got sidetracked. I don't remember because I
I
was.
know, see?
What
I
did I
did
ask
too.
her, Lindsay?
I'm gonna tee it up because this actually goes into the next topic that I want to talk about. So number one, we talked about education. Number two, we've got to talk about defining your value and what makes you different. So that piece, and if you're okay, Chassie, with the evolution of the conversation, you know, we've talked about distinguishing, you know, why you're worth your percentage and why you need to be offering compensation if your home is if you're pricing that product to be competitive. So let's take it one step further. You're on a listing appointment and they're interviewing 3-4 other agents. Why are they going to pick you over someone else? What's the value you're bringing?
Anybody, let's get 3 value propositions so we
Yeah.
don't go through all. So let's take 3 people and just shoot us out one. Come off of mute and give us your one value proposition. And it doesn't matter. You may think it has to be something sexy and cool and nobody else is doing it. Doesn't. So what is one value proposition you can share with us?
I'm going to pick on people if no one comes off mute. Chat. Let's see. Nope.
Knowing your market, as you've mentioned, really know your market, especially locally.
Yeah, that is a great value because you'll be surprised how many people do not because they don't study it because we get complacent. The professional, the real professional, education, always. They're steadily seeking more education to improve themselves, their value, and the trade that they are in. That's a great one. See, that's common. People like, that's not a value. You're about to see what a value it is because that's how they're going to get the buyer to sign with them and not you.
Well, and Australia, no, I'm saying it wrong. Okay. And I had the same problem when we met in person because okay.
It's Estrella. It's okay.
Estrella.
Yeah.
Yeah.
R.
I gotta roll my R's. Okay. It's the one thing that I want, the nugget there, and then I'm gonna give the mic to you, is that we have to be the professional. And the professional is constantly studying. And if you are not a professional, you are a practitioner. Yep. And who wants to go to a doctor that is a practitioner if they are having life-saving surgery? No, I want to work with the best. I want to know that the surgeon I'm going to has the latest technology, has researched, they're invested in the education because I know they're going to be better than the practitioner. We are no different than that when we think about the value we offer clients. All right, the mic is yours, sis.
So for me, I think but how I would pose the value prop is I'm obsessed with the market and the information that the market holds. So because of that, I can identify trends much faster than any other agent in the market because I know what's happening on a national level. So I can give you sound advice before anybody else is aware of what needs to be adjusted.
Yep. I love that. There's a buyer that I got referred that's coming to El Paso and he was like, oh, Chastity, I'm just going to work directly with the listing agent. I've had success before negotiating that commission down for my benefit. Oh, when are you coming? Oh, at the end of August. Oh, did you know August 17th it changes? The commission structure potentially changes and that is no longer on the table to negotiate. Crickets. What do you mean? Well, that's no longer a right there as we've thought in the past. So now what are you going to do? Because it's not there. So how are you going to represent and negotiate for yourself? You got to be okay asking those kind of questions, using your value, your education to ask those questions.
We need another value prop. Who else has one?
I can do one.
Yeah.
Leona.
All
Um,
right,
so-
Leona.
Yay. So I have a large personal and professional network of people who I continually have contact with, who can help me market the home, as well as various negotiation certificates to help me guide you to your best interests.
See, I love it.
I
I love
love
it.
that. I love that you tied in the network.
Yeah.
How many people here tie in their network to get the referral of the listing? Because that's a huge value add, right, Chastity?
Yep. Yep, we're gonna talk about that when we narrow down these ways when we end with getting listings. What about this? I send pizza when they're packing up to move. Is that a value? Everybody's moved here once or twice. You know what that day is like when the movers are there and you trying to wrangle your kids and you trying to wrangle the movers, especially military families. We also provide pizza when they're moving in. The buyer's moving in, the seller's moving out. We also put a free home warranty, a listing home warranty on all our listings. Is that a value statement? And I always tell the story that we had a seller whose HVAC system went out while we were listed, and it was a $14,000 repair, and our seller paid a $75 service fee to replace that $14,000 AC. It's free. Y'all, it's free to put a listing home warranty on it. I don't know why every agent doesn't do it. I think it's either lack of knowledge or lazy because they got to go one other step to order it, but it's so easy to do. We use First American. They're amazing. The only time you pay for it is if the buyer negotiates a home warranty from the seller, then there is like a $175 fee due, but that's peanuts to what you make if you have to pay it. But then you just negotiate a different home warranty company so you don't have to pay it. I mean, there's ways around that. But value is so many different things. It's what systems you provide. Another value is your admin. I tell them at the listing appointment, I have a listing coordinator. She's available Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5 o'clock for anything you need, no matter what it is. If she can't answer it, she'll get it. If it's something I have to answer, she'll tell you. They have access to us all the time. One of our value statements is that we answer within 5 minutes. They're not sitting there on red all day because I'm in appointments. All right, y'all get the picture. Value can be anything. And guess what? You got a great resource, ChatGTP. You can go in there and you can say, hey, act as a listing agent who is trying to create a value proposition, and this is the type of person I am. You can teach ChatGTP who you are. You can teach it how you talk. You can teach it how you think, and then it will create things that are most like you. What's our next one, Lindsay?
I want to back it up for just a quick second and ask this one, because this one comes up all the time. How do you get listing leads?
If you don't have money versus if you do have money.
Let's go if you don't have money, and then you
Okay.
tell us what you do when you do have money, because we got to get money, and then we got a different problem, right?
Yeah. So was that big S the superhero of our circles? Anybody? Chelsea, what is the super S?
Sphere.
Sphere. We start with our sphere, right? That's number one for a new agent. When they come in to our team and they're brand new, they have to come with an Excel of 200 of their sphere on an Excel day one. Why? Why do I do that? I want them to call everybody they know, and I want them to put some effort into it instead of just coming here and jumping in on my database and my dialer. So the first people is friends, family, past co-workers, current co-workers, anybody you know, like, and that you think trust you. You should be screaming it from every social media platform, calling everybody in your phone. The first thing you can do with Chasity, I don't have a database. You do have a database. Is this hand computer that you hold every day is your first database. You start there. Most of our very first clients is somebody we know, right? My very first client was one of our admins that worked with me on active duty, one of our civilian employees. when I was getting off active duty.
Mhm. My first client was a referral from a Pampered Chef rep that sent me to a friend that needed to sell her house in San Antonio, where I was. And I always tell this, that Becca Sparks was my first listing, military family. And guess what military family love to do? If you do a great job, they sell you and tell everybody.
The
Becca
best
Sparks,
mouthpiece. They are the best mouthpiece.
$15 million over 2 years, Becca Sparks referred me.
Yep. And if you are military family, your spouse, if they're on active duty, that's your mouthpiece. If they not telling everybody in that unit that you in real estate, don't cook them dinner tonight. Don't do it, because that's got to be your biggest cheerleader. And then moving on from that, if you don't have any money, you can go door knock your neighborhood, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pick a neighborhood you like and go door knock that neighborhood. And you remember, always come from contribution. You want to add something of value. So print out, go to that site or any site you use. Another site is list reports. You can sign up for list reports for free, and it gives you it sends you an email, I think about every day, and it gives you a ton of information about the market, about all kinds of things that you could use to put a little something together that you could just put on their door. Like if they're not there, you leave it rolled up, in the door. If they answer, you just say, hey, I'm your neighbor. I recently got into real estate. Just want to add value to my neighbors. And I know everybody loves to, see what's going on in the real estate market. So the first Saturday of every month, I'm going to deliver you a report, or the third, because we need the report to come out, whatever it is, but you have to be consistent. If you're door knocking, it's kind of like farming. You have to be consistent. So the first 90 days, you got to hit them a lot, because you got to establish that presence. But then you have a consistent time. I'm going to hit these 50 doors, pick 50 doors, pick 20 doors, pick whatever you think you'll do. And do that consistently. Choose the day of the week every month that you're going to do that, and you do that for a year without clockwork. The problem with real estate agents is consistency. We're not consistent. We would buy the shiny objects, or Chasity said she does this, so I'm going to try that. Well, no, Lindsay said she tried that, so it sounds like that's better for me. Taylor is doing Instagram, and that sounds better to me. No, what works for you? You have to really soul search to say what works for me, and that becomes your lead gen tool. If you absolutely hate to call on the phone and you're not good on the phone, then don't call on the phone. Go knock 100 doors every day. Choose a different neighborhood and knock 100 doors every day. Or join your local boards. Join anything in your community that puts you in front of people. Real estate is a contact sport, and it's a numbers game. So you have to be anywhere that puts you in front of the opportunity. If I'm in the grocery store line and there's 5 people in front of me and 5 people behind me, all I see is 10 opportunities. That's all I see, and I'm listening. I'm listening. And if they say, hey, I wish I knew where the best spring rolls was, well, I know where the best spring roll is, and I'm going to tell them where the best spring roll is. Oh, and by the way, I'm in real estate. You know anybody looking to move this year? You have to look for the opportunities.
How many times have you tried to convert your dentist?
I ask them every time. I say, hey, don't forget, my name is this, and I'm in real estate. They feel weird. I think professionals like that feel weird to refer you because they don't want to mix it. But I will quickly say, hey, Dr. V, I referred 3 people to you, and you haven't referred anybody to me this year. Right? That's okay to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't, then find those people that don't. I ask them, hey, do you have a dedicated real estate person? You inevitably hear people talk about that. If they have one, do you have room for 2? What if I'm better? What if you think my personality fits better? You can't be scared to ask, because what's the worst somebody's going to say? No, who cares? We're not selling Mary Kay. We're selling houses. Everybody's not going to say yes, and that's okay. But no's get you to the yes. So you got to ask enough people to say no to get to the one that says yes. And it might take you 100 to get to the 1. Okay, so what? You'll get better and better, and that might become 80 to 1 and 50 to 1. How else can we get leads with no money?
Put some stuff in the comments. How are you kickstarting your business right now? What are you doing to get leads?
Another is open houses before, but now in Texas anyway, Yeah, I mean, that's gonna be hard with this new thing because you can't hold open houses for, if it's not your broker. Cause this whole buyer rep thing, I mean, it's gonna be tough. But you can do them for your whole broker. If you got 300 people in your office and y'all got 500 listings, you could do an open house every day. You can sit in the office and wait for a buyer to walk in, or you can sit in the house and wait for the buyer, and you can be role playing, practicing in that open house, updating your admin. If you would a major broker, they have a CRM. That's where you start. That's what you pay your dues for to them. So you start there. Moving to paid.
Yeah, let's move to paid because I want to ask you about your CRM.
We use we use Brivity for our buyer CRM. Buyer and seller, but you know, it's better for buyers. You do get seller leads, but those buyer leads though, you've heard of Brivity, Boomtown.
Mm-hmm.
What's some of the other ones? Something desk.
Follow up boss, Lion
Follow
Desk.
Boss, Last Desk. You got all those ones. People choose one that works. You know, if you don't have a lot of money, then choose one that's the most cost effective for you in the beginning. You can also do, I mean, another great inexpensive way to get leads is social media. Did you know Facebook is the #1 platform for getting real estate business?
Mhm.
And the second one is Instagram. And the people with the money is on Facebook. The people that might have money is on Instagram because if you look at the studies with the age between Facebook and Instagram, that's why I say that. But I mean, there's agents that built their entire business on social media and didn't spend anything. And you can boost your stuff. But if you are consistently posting something, adding value to people every day, you're going to start building that brand and people are going to start noticing.
So now that we got some money,
The other one for sellers that we use, expired calls is your bread and butter for listings. I mean, they literally have raised their hand to say, I want to sell.
Mm-hmm.
So Vulcan 7 is our favorite for expireds. It is costly. It's like $450 a month. But I think it's the best. You do have Land Voice. I think Land Voice sucks. I'm sorry. We have it for free through Place, but when I compare the data I get every day from Land Voice to what I get from Vulcan 7, it's not the same. We get less data from Land Voice than we do, so we don't even tap into that. But those are a CRM and then, a Vulcan 7, or if Land Voice is cheaper, go with that. It does give you some data. And then you can pay extra on Vulcan 7 to get neighborhood data. So what we just did, because, okay, well, who do we call? We only getting about 1 to 3 expireds here. We getting a ton of canceled and withdrawn, more than I've ever seen in my career, which is crazy. That tells you what's going on in the market. But when they said, think outside the box, somebody asked to do the marketing and think outside the box. Well, I thought outside the box on calling, because right now we're doing a 60-day challenge where we are calling 5,000 leads in 60 days. And my agents are doing it every day. Or 50 open houses for the next 60 days. Some are doing both, some are doing one or the other. So we got to have data to call, right? Because at some point 5,000, you're getting through your database pretty quickly. So
Sure.
I went back to 2021 and pulled from 21, 20, 4 years before that. I can't count backwards. But if you're in a military town, and a lot of you are, I went and pulled any VA buyer that bought within that 4-year period, because what's coming up for that family?
It's move time.
A PCS is very likely for those.
Mm-hmm.
I pulled 1,000 of military buyers that bought during that 4-year period. So we're calling every one of them to see if it's time to PCS. But
What-
I don't want to call strangers, Chastity. That's weird.
I was gonna say, what are you doing to prepare for that? What's your team doing to prepare for that?
Script practice. If y'all not script practicing role playing every day or at least 3 times a week, you're gonna be behind on this new thing because you at least have to script practice and role play your value and your fee to that buyer. So you got to find somebody. If you're by yourself, you got to find somebody. If you're on a team and they're not providing this kind of value, it might be time to interview other teams. That is just real because there's so many out there that say they are a team, but they're really not. They just want to say they are, or they want 50% of your money or what they give you. I mean, if they give you that, that's great. That's 50% of something is 0 of nothing, but you have to role play. And I'm going to send, I'll send a couple of scripts to Lindsay to send out that we use. And then I'm going to drop a gift in, you got everybody's email, right, Lindsay?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna send the lead gen wheel out to Lindsay for you all. She'll send it to you. And it gives you, it's a whole wheel, pie chart, if you will, of leads, of where to get leads and what to think about and who to call and what to do. And it's broken down in different categories. But those are the best paid ones. And then if you want to farm, if you want to consistently, there's this one neighborhood that's new that I want to dominate when the time comes. And yeah, it is brand new. It's a year old, but it's 100 homes. They already get a mailer every month from me. What am I doing?
You're planting seeds, girl.
Planting seeds in that. And if I'd have done this when somebody told me to do it 10 years ago, I would own that community. And that community beside it, that's the older, sells, 400 homes in the last 3 years.
Chastity, I have a question from Kimber. Kimber wants to know, you had mentioned pulling all those VAs that, bought 3-4 years ago. Where are you pulling that data from and where are you getting those leads?
Remember Vulcan 7, the neighborhood data? Because you pay for that and you get 1,000 downloads a month. So you can put in there anything. You don't have to be just military. If somebody bought, you could pull people that bought. What did they say? What's the national average for when people move? Just the normal population. How many years? Every what?
Isn't it 8 to 12?
Every 8 to 12 years. So could y'all download data from 8 to 12 years ago? Non-military? You could do that too, right? I know if you, another source that will actually circle prospect for you if you don't want to do it, but you can pay for it, is Phone Animal. Tim Heil owns that. We use them for a while and you can budget with them. So you can spend as much as you want or as little as you want. And they'll circle prospect for you because circle prospecting is like it's the highest fruit. It is really not, unless you have absolutely nothing. If you're brand new, maybe that works. Because it's like 1 to 1,000 or something, like the conversion. So that's, if you can pay for somebody else to do that and just let them burn through that while you're working on Sphere. The data shows that something crazy, like your past clients, like an 87% chance they would refer you again, but only 1 out of 11 do because you don't stay in touch. So another way to get these, when I wrote down, if you want to write these down, this is how we get this is how. Now remember, I've been in business since full year 2014. 2014, first year, I was rookie of the year. Second year, they recruited me to be the CEO of this office and a satellite office next to us. So when I was that CEO and I was going to these Keller Williams events, it opened my eyes to a whole nother thing, which is called networking, which I knew how to network. But there's a reason that you go to these national events, whether it's your broker or anybody else, is because you are networking with agents. And what do agents do on Facebook?
They refer you business.
They tag you, right? Now it is speed to lead because now everybody's doing it. It's now, popular. Everybody's forming their groups and tagging each other. So speed to lead is always going to be your grit. So you got to get to that agent first because they play daggone hot potatoes with these leads, and the first agent that calls, they usually give it to them, which is crazy to me because they don't see it as losing money, right? Because the money isn't right there. And I always say, and I'll give you a script that I say if they say they've talked to somebody else as another bonus, but through that, you have to have a touch system to talk to your clients. And that you have to set tasks to do that. So my admin staff set that. When we close a buyer, that my admin team writes 4 cards. They write a 30-day check-in, hope you're getting settled. They write a happy birthday. They write a happy first year anniversary, and they write a happy holiday card. And we have a filing system, January through December, and they just drop it to whatever month that needs to be mailed. And then at the first week of every month, she just grabs that pile out and puts it in the mail. Is that easy? You can do that as a single agent with no help. You have plenty of time to do stuff like that. You can even do pop buys. New agents, you have a great benefit because if you only got 20 past clients right now, you can easily hit all 20 of them clients every quarter with a little something from the Dollar Tree. It's summer. Take them a $1.25 pack of chalk and put a little card on it that says enjoy the summer if they got kids. That's less than $40 right there for 20 clients that, and some time from you that you could go do that. And Popeyes work well. I mean, that whole, what's his name? Got that whole system, that Popeye system. I forgot his name.
Well, it's the conversion happens in the conversation. If you're not
Yeah.
having a conversation with folks, you're
Yeah.
not converting.
Yeah.
I got a question here. I'm going to ask to unmute you, my friend. I'm not going to try to butcher your name again.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. You'll get it eventually,
I'm
Estrella.
going to get it. We're going to have
Yeah.
a one-on-one and I'm going to practice it and I'm going to
Yeah.
be so good.
We'll just go over it over and over
Over
again.
and over and over.
Yeah. So when you were talking about the cards, I recently discovered this program which has changed my life. It's called Mailbox Pro.
Mhm.
And I set up a workflow. So like the minute I close them, I put them in that workflow. And then after so many days, it triggers. And I have my birthday set up in there. Like my referral agents get a birthday card. And you could even send like a gift with it. I forget all the time. And every once in a while, I'll get a text message and it's like, thank you so much for the birthday brownies. And I'm like, oh shit. Yeah. Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Like I just forgot
Yeah.
about it, but it's so freaking easy.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's basically like email automation, but like paper, mails and stuff. I love it.
That's one of those pay system that works. But if you're paying for an admin staff that's on a salary, it's more prudent for you all to use them to do some of this stuff because as you grow and you get more, I have 1,500 past clients now. That's tough. Some of these systems are too expensive for us now, right? To send that to 1,500 people. But then that's when it comes to your A, B, C clients, right? I'm not sending that to my C clients. I'm just not. I'm sending something like that to my A clients. So maybe I got 50 A clients. My 50 A clients that will refer me, that will jump up and down and say, you have to hire her. They get the good stuff. And we do 2 client events a year. So they say a lot of my business now is past client referral or agent referrals. That's where most of it comes from. And that's because we create relationships. Because for me, I always say it's more than a sale. It's a family. We are creating an experience for a family for the American dream. And I'm serious about that. I'm serious about people building wealth through real estate. It can change the course of your life if you do it right. And you will see that passion coming through. You'll see that passion coming through when I'm talking to the E5 that I'm helping come from Hawaii who says, I think I'm just going to rent Chasity because I just can't get the house I want for the money I want. Wait a minute, put the brakes on and back up the truck, honey, because you're not getting the house you want as an E5. We're not even talking about that. We're going to talk about how to be smart as an E5 and get a starter home instead of giving $65,000 away while you are here renting. So you get a check for $65,000 when you sell that house. And he was like, oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. I don't care that the closet's too small for your wife. Then don't buy any more clothes so you can save money to buy the next house.
I freaking love it so much. We've got 3 minutes.
All right, let me run this down real quick.
Uh-huh.
Okay, relationships, right? Through events, through cards, through pop buys, whatever. You friend them on Facebook. They have a baby, you send them a card. They get promoted, you send them a card. All I do is screenshot it, I send it, I put it in my ops channel and say, send them a card, congratulations. You have to be thoughtful. Follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up, okay? Number 2 is systems. You got to create the systems to help you do this, because you got to think not today with 5 clients, but how I'm going to do it with 100 past clients. And how am I going to remember it all and keep up? So you have to create systems to do that. And then knowing your national and local market. So you can talk that talk and come up with something your passion. Find that passion of why you do this. Yes, the money is great, but you have to find something else, because if it's just about the money, that comes out. And then networking was the next one. Start building relationships with agents. Can you call agents? Can you lead generate every day to agents? And how easy is it to get agents information? You just go on any place you want to network to, just go on and Google that location and you can get it. I encourage you all to get 20 agents contacts as your third piece of your homework. And I want you to call those 20 agents and tell them who you are and what you stand for and why they should refer you in your business. And oh, let's be Facebook friends. Do you have anybody that you tag in this area? Because I don't have anybody in your area. So let's start tagging each other.
On fire. We've got 1 minute. Are there any other questions or things that you want to hear from Chasity? And if you have a referral moving to the El Paso, Texas area, we all know who we are going to refer. So Chasity can be number 1 of the 20 agents that you're going to reach out to and build a relationship with.
Oh, me.
Guess who I sent all my El Paso referrals to? Miss Chasity.
She'll send you my info. I also have a monthly email if you want to be on it. It's easier if you don't just send Lindsay a private message, no, but we send out an email every month to our agent partners, and it's something of value. Like in October, when we do our business planning clinic, I send you the map for the business planning clinic. If we get a new script, I send you that. Like we just did a script calling people for the homestead exemption, right? That is a great opportunity to hit your sphere to make sure. And make sure you can call 4 times a year to make sure they filed their homestead exemption, because that's coming from value. So if you want to, if you don't tell Lindsay no, I'm going to get your email. I'm going to put you on it so you start getting it. So I can add value to your life. And I will be at Elevate. So if you are in Colorado, sign up for Elevate and come meet me in person, and let's mastermind in person.
Yes. So Elevate is Lana Rodriguez is on the call. Lana, Brian, there we go. Unmute yourself, sis. Tell us about Elevate.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Elevate happening in Colorado Springs, September 18th, and it's going to be a one-day event. Lindsay speaking, Chasity speaking, and we have a diverse lineup of best trainers and educators from around the country. We have Jeff Glover in the house, Brian Buffini's finest, Derek Jones, and just please block out your entire day. And of course, as you guys remember, if you attended last year's Elevate, there's going to be a follow-up mastermind the next day with more intimate settings. So we grow together, no agent left behind, and we hope to see you.
Yes.
I love it. Hey, before y'all leave, I got Whitney brought up a great point. Don't forget those orphan buyers. So if you have a listing, often the agent on the other side is not keeping up with that buyer. So my admin also sends those 4 cards to the buyer that bought our listing. So don't forget about them orphan buyers.
You just blew minds with that one little tidbit. There is so many golden nuggets. And don't forget, today's call will be recorded. I will send everybody a link to the recording. So if there was something that you heard here that you were like, what was that she said? You're going to have access to the recording. And make sure I'll include links to everything Chasity mentioned, as well as Elevate. If you're not in the Colorado area, this is a conference that we urge you to fly into. Come see the Colorado Springs area, hang out with me, Lana, Chasity, and we make sure that your business and mind grow by just getting connected. So thank you so much, Miss Chasity. Thank you guys so much.
It was such a pleasure. Thank y'all for spending time. Good to see all of you. Have an amazing week. Go crush it. Go practice so you can take the business other people can't, because they're not doing what you're doing.
Be a professional and go get the business. We'll see you guys next month for another amazing mastermind. Thank you, Chasity.
Thank you, Boo. Bye.